So this video comes from Gray in the Discord. Let's go ahead and check this out. Building Wheatley.
This video is brought to you by Robotis.
Kill you.
This was pretty cool. I watched literally just this first part and I was like, bro, I gotta really watch this. This is so cool. Shout out to all the engineers. Hey. Companion cube. Yo, that's the TF2 dispenser. That'd be crazy if he actually had Wheatley moving around in his house. I wonder what he does with all his past projects. Does he just put them to the side? Or does he like actually use them in his house? Because that'd be so cool.
This is my latest attempt at building an animatronic version of Wheatley from Portal 2. Now, why did I spend hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars developing a high-tech moron?
Because it's cool.
Well, a few years ago, I built a basic animatronic version of GLaDOS' head.
That's crazy.
In Portal 2. Yeah, the next logical step was to build everyone's favorite intelligence dampening sphere. How hard could it be to build the robotic body of an advanced AI from a video game world where the laws of physics are merely a suggestion? Difficulty aside, I got to work and began designing my first version of Wheatley, Mark 1. Mark 1 was a big boy at 0.5 meters in diameter, scaled to match a bizarre 5-inch round LCD for his eye. Now, I learned a lot of the fundamental design challenges of translating Wheatley into the real world with this version. Most notably, at this larger scale, rigidity was a major issue, which meant it was a bit too wobbly and also hard to maneuver. I also discovered that it was kind of complicated to implement a Stewart platform in such a tight space and make it work reliably. So it was time for an upgrade. Mark 2 was a smaller and more lore-accurate size and much more fully featured. This time, I added a mechanical iris and improved details like this passive inner rail. I controlled him with a needlessly complicated analog motion capture device, but it still wasn't good enough. This version was
pretty cool, dude. That's still pretty cool. Man can literally control it himself. It reminds me of that video of Jeff Bezos when he was like laughing and stuff.
But it still wasn't good enough. This version was too complicated, and while people liked it,
so make it simple.
They knew that I could achieve more functionality with fewer parts.
Make it simple.
So I started planning upgrades for Mark 3.
Okay.
For those of you who are possibly going to build a Wheatley based off my design,
not me.
And by the way, yes, the files are free, you should know that Wheatley is a complicated machine. I never did a complete count of the bill of materials for Mark II, but it would be safe to say that it was over 500, as I spent a lot of time reducing the part count down to 444 in Mark III. That's 97 3D prints, 30 electronic components, 18 laser cut or milled parts, and 299 screws, bearings, and other pieces of hardware.
You lost me at 200 screws, buddy.
Now, it would take hours for me to explain every way I simplified the design, but I mainly reduced the part count by fusing multiple 3D prints into one.
Smart.
Case in point,
there it is.
Wheatley's outer shell piece, which used to be 7 separate parts in Mark II.
Just make it one.
This is a super awkward part to 3D
there
print
it
on
is.
a normal FDM 3D printer.
That's fine.
No matter which way you orient it, it's always going to need support material. And even at low layer heights, it will have tons of stair-stepping since it has such shallow curves. So I didn't print it, and instead ordered the shells to be made out of laser-sintered nylon, which means it's tough. Mark II,
if you can't do it, somebody else can.
Was made out of PLA, which is fine, but another benefit of a nylon shell is serious heat resistance.
You're gonna need that. Those electronics are crazy.
Which was a serious concern of mine for Mark II. While sintered PA12 nylon is tough, it's not particularly rigid. So I designed key components like his outer chassis arcs and inner frame mount to be made out of metal. I don't have a machine that can cut through steel, but my new friends over at Send Cut Send do.
Is this
so
a
they
sponsor?
helped me out and sent over these beautiful laser cut stainless steel and aluminum parts. They offer a ton of different material options. So when I needed thin, strong, and light components to attach Wheatley's faceplate, I had to order them.
Bro, I like the Discord logo.
It's just so cool that's an option.
Or a controller.
Now, if you want to bring your own laser cut designs to life, you can check out SendCutSend and use
link
my
description.
link to save 10% off your next order.
Now,
two of the biggest issues I wanted to tackle in my Mark III design were cable management and motion control.
Yeah, you definitely need some cable management.
We need to talk about servos. Okay. My previous versions of Wheatley used common RC hobby servos for most of the mechanisms. Now this little RC hobby servo has a motor, gearbox, driver, and an analog potentiometer attached to the output shaft so that the little processor can tell the motor when to stop. You send it a digital signal, and the output shaft moves to a repeatable position. Simple, right? Sure. Basic hobby servos are great for things like RC planes and cars, or animatronics, where space isn't at a premium. But my third version of Wheatley has 11 degrees of freedom, each driven by a servo motor. So if I were to have 11 RC servos hooked up to a relatively compact driver board, you can see how
that cable management is crazy.
Route to one spot.
Yes.
But that's not the only problem. By and large, all these servos have a range of motion of 0 to 180 degrees. Okay. And the way you connect the output shaft is via different horns that attach via the spline. Now, I can install the horn any which way I want on the spline.
That's
which
good.
Means that if I expect it to have that full range of motion, but mount it towards the end of its range of motion and send a command to move to 180 degrees, I won't have that full range of motion. Now I can zero it out to a known position like 90
it's
degrees
take a lot
before
of testing.
Installing it.
Yeah.
But the only way to know that I've done that is to manually do that.
Put it together,
every time.
Fuck no. No, we need a new solution.
That's a chore and prone to error.
We need a new solution.
What if instead of a rat's nest of power, ground, and signal wires in parallel, I could daisy chain my motors together? What if instead of a limited range of motion, I had motors that move 360 degrees or more with
That's good. There it is.
And precision.
There it is. Full range of motion.
Because the solution is right here.
Boom.
This is a Dynamixel. Dynamixels are smart actuators made by Robotis, and these are a serious upgrade compared to a hobby servo. Each one gives me feedback on position, voltage, acceleration,
nice,
velocity,
and it's inside software. That's good.
I have 11 Dynamixel X Series servos in Wheatley.
That's good.
One for the mechanical iris.
That's good.
2 more for the pan tilt action of his inner eye. 1 for each eyelid. 1 for each of his handles.
Okay.
2 more for the pan tilt of his
face.
face.
This is great.
Another for roll. And last but not least, 1 big boy to pitch the whole inner chassis. I paid for all these servos, and I would buy them again because they've saved me so much time and made the design process
100%. And not only that, it looks way more fluid because if he had to painstakingly do this to have all these functions move correctly and not look janky, like bro, he would have to reassemble, disassemble. Like, no, it takes too much time. Too much time.
And I would buy them again.
Better.
Because they've saved so much time.
Way better.
Process considerably.
This is good. This is a great video.
I'll dive more into the nitty-gritty.
I already hit like on it. Let's go.
Pixel platform in my future Mark III tutorial video.
But
if you're interested in learning more about Robotis and their robotic solutions, check them out via the link below. Now, in past iterations, I really wanted to incorporate a Raspberry Pi inside Wheatley's main eye so that I could swap out irises and thus personalities on the fly, as well as program him any which way I wanted. And while it did technically work, the eye is really hard to access, and let's be honest, I don't need a...
Bro, like the eye is like... Isn't that like one of the first things you really got to put inside of the Wheatley?
Full operating system to what ultimately amounts to...
So that means if you take everything out...
So I ditched the Pi and kept it simple with an LED ring light instead.
There it is, baby. Keep it simple.
Mounted it behind a printed version of his eye.
Keep it simple.
And effective.
Keep it simple.
Now with the Pi gone...
KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
So I settled on this ESP32 module with a built-in LCD, which means I have a lot of connectivity options. But in the spirit of keeping things simple, I'm using the Bluetooth capabilities of the ESP32 to puppet him in real time.
Bro, this video is absolutely amazing. This video is absolutely amazing. Bro, oh my God, this video is so awesome. This is so awesome. He's literally using old technology. Oh my goodness, man. Shout out to all the engineers, man.
With the PS3 controller.
This is awesome.
Audio is handled by a separate Teensy 4.1 that has the voice clips stored on a
SD card.
Yeah. The ESP32 sends commands via serial, And the Teensy plays the audio via an amplifier.
Can you select what audio you want, or is it
while also
random?
handling the real-time brightness modulation of his LED eye. And that just about covers it for the upgrades from Mark III. Now, I know you've skipped ahead because this is the part you've all been waiting for.
I did it.
So without further ado, here are my best attempts at animating your most requested voice lines.
Hello! Most test subjects do experience some cognitive deterioration after a few months in suspension. Now, you've been under for quite a lot longer, and it's not...
This is so cool.
Out of the question.
This is so cool.
You might have a very minor case of serious brain damage.
Minor case of serious
Most
brain
test subjects do experience some cognitive deterioration after a few months in suspension. Now, you've been under for quite a lot longer, and it's not out of the question that you might have a very minor case of serious brain damage. What's wrong with being adopted? Lack of parents, number one.
Well,
so,
shout out to all the adopted kids.
Nothing, but some of my best friends actually are orphans.
Okay.
What's wrong with being adopted? Lack
this
of
is so
parents,
much better.
number one. So
this is so much better.
And also, nothing, but some of my best friends
so
actually are orphans.
More emotion.
You're saying to yourself, why should I jump in the pit? I'll tell you why. Guess who's down there? Your parents!
This is
You're
Mark
not
II.
adopted after all. It's your natural parents down there.
Oh my god. It's so rigidy. It's so rigidy.
And reunite with Mummy and Daddy.
Keeps hitting
You're saying to yourself, why should I jump in the pit? I'll tell you why. Guess who's down there? Your parents! You're not adopted after all. It's your natural parents down there in the pit. Should have mentioned it before, but I didn't.
Oh, this one's
So
hitting
jump
too.
on down and reunite with Mummy and Daddy. So that last test was seriously disappointing. Apparently being civil isn't motivating you, so let's try her way, alright? Fatty, adopted fatty, no parents. Alright, so that last test was seriously disappointing. Apparently being civil isn't motivating you, so let's try her way, alright? Fatty, adopted fatty, no parents. Fine, let the games begin. Fine, let the games begin. Holmes versus Moriarty. Aristotle versus Mashy Spike Plate. I am not a moron! Hello, this is the part where I kill you.
The intro.
Hello, this is the part where I kill you.
It looks good, man. This is absolutely amazing.
Master, you're a puppet in a play, and I hold all the strings and cards. Still got the cards in one hand, and I got the strings in the other hand. You dance like a puppet, playing cards.
Okay.
The Puppet Master. Okay. You're a puppet in a play, and I hold all the strings and cards. Still got the cards in one hand.
I love how like the iris on its own is moving. It's like doo-doo-doo. This one is moving this way, but this one on the inside can move this way. I like that. I like that a lot. I like that so much.
Still got the cards in one hand, and I got the strings in the other hand, and I'm making you dance like a puppet, playing cards. They say that the old caretaker of this place went absolutely crazy. Chopped up his entire staff of robots. All of the robots. They say at night you can still hear the screams of their replicas. All of them functionally indistinguishable from the originals. No memory of the incident. Nobody knows what they're screaming about. Absolutely terrifying. Though obviously not paranormal in any meaningful way.
Ooh.
They say that the old caretaker of this place went absolutely crazy.
I love this. It's like the game.
Staff of robots.
It's just like the game.
Robots. They say at night you can still hear the screams of their replicas. All of them functionally indistinguishable from the originals.
Nobody knows what they're screaming about.
Nobody knows what they're screaming about. Absolutely terrifying. Though obviously not paranormal in any meaningful way.
Now, this is a never-ending project, and I know it will never be 100% what everyone wants.
No, but it's good enough. It is good enough. Seeing this lets me know, Mr. Vault, you have so much skill. You went and you took something and you made it needlessly more complicated than it needed to be. And then you stepped back and you said, how can I make this more simple? Then you made Mark II. And then you said, I can make it even better. And then you made a Mark III. And I think this Mark III is really, really good. I think this is like 90% perfect, right? 90%. Do you really want to step back again to make it even more perfect? I don't know. I think that comes down to your intuition or whatever. Whatever makes engineers tick, because I'm not an engineer at all. So I have no idea what makes you guys want to do this. But I will say that this is absolutely amazing. And I am looking forward to see whatever you create next. I also might binge watch some of your older content as well, because I'm interested in that TF2 dispenser.
If anything,
so I'm gonna hit
I
the subscribe.
put
This was amazing. This was great.
Thanks for watching,
yes.
and thanks to Robotis for sponsoring this video.
Shout out to Robotis.
So if you want to support the channel and see more cool robotic and animatronic builds like this in the future, seriously, go check them out.
And it's open source.
They sent me a full set of motors for another core, so I think I should build Wheatley a friend, don't you? And as always, thanks to my supporters over on Patreon.
This was amazing. Oh, here's the dispenser. Oh man, I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna watch this. Let me know if y'all want me to react to this, because if y'all don't want me to react to it, bro, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it regardless. I'm gonna put it on my side computer while I play games. This is dope. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.